Right. So you've been on the hamster wheel of YouTube, the hamster wheel of content creation. You see it happen on Instagram and Facebook, and it's more obvious because when you post, it disappears basically in 24 hours. Like, we're used to this. This is not anything new. But on YouTube, it kind of is. Unless you have an epic piece of content that just keeps getting shared or offers like a very specific type of value, then your content will start to fall off as well on YouTube. It does take a few more days after exposing people to your content. Like, it takes a few more days and then it just kind of falls off. And maybe it's just me or because I'm newer at this and I've only been creating for a certain amount of time, but it can be very discouraging. And at the same time, what I have noticed is posting daily kind of keeps this little treadmill alive. Your reach keeps expanding and each piece of content sort of feeds on the other pieces. So in a way, it's a good thing and a bad thing because it sort of encourages you to keep going, keep recording, keep uploading. And I guess that's the era of YouTube we're in, the upload daily era of YouTube, and which is good for creative types of people or people that have a lot to say or a lot of knowledge on a subject already, or some people that are just very creative. And so if you're listening to this podcast, well, that should be you. You're a creative person. And so I'm really experimenting with trying to upload different types of content. So we've got the podcast here, we've got some vlog-ish kind of content, and I'm about to go into some tutorial style content, a little bit of the back end of creator business stuff. But before we even get to creator business stuff, like the thing that is most important is having this well of content, this flywheel of content that will continue to snowball. So we don't want the snowball to stop. Once it starts going down the hill, we got to keep feeding the machine until it gets going enough, because otherwise you're just going to give up. And that's why I've been on YouTube for 6 years, but I haven't posted much actually until this last year. So it's just the give up factor. Your video doesn't necessarily take off. It's hard because you're a new content creator. You don't know all the things, but I literally just made a video about this, but it's everything that I've learned in the last 6 years being on YouTube. The main takeaway is actually the idea that I have to keep uploading basically daily at this point because the competition has gotten fierce. I mean, it's really fierce. Anybody can upload to YouTube with their camera and anybody can go live, anybody can post, and there's a good chance that people are better looking than you. There's a good chance people are more confident than you. People are more knowledgeable than you. So you really have to start putting the you back in YouTube if you want to be a content creator. You have to start thinking about what is the thing that only you can do or that you'll do differently than other people that post similar types of content. And so that's the angle that I'm taking on this. Right now I'm in the talking about creator stuff. There may be a time when I just switch to more behind the camera like this, maybe screen capture tutorial stuff. So I want to be able to do everything. And so the only consistent thing throughout all of those different formats, because people like to say, pick a format that works and do that format. But for longevity's sake, in my mind, you don't worry about the format that Kim Kardashian is posting. You don't worry about the format that Kevin Hart shows up on. That's Kevin Hart. Like, whatever he's doing is probably funny. So it's whatever Jakey Wakey's doing is probably maybe a little sarcastic, a little interesting, maybe has a contrarian opinion on some common tropes, some common philosophies. Like I said, the idea that you have to niche down so much that it's just one content style on your channel only, I think that's so silly because YouTube gives us so many different ways to post, like literally podcast on YouTube on your channel, literally live streaming, literally shorts, literally community posts, literally every single type of content that you could think of to make, you could put all on YouTube. And why would you separate it into different channels when you are the niche, as they say? You're the niche. Let's just go into the you're the niche rant right here, because I've noticed the people that are pushing the you are the niche thing are not necessarily practicing what they preach. They've turned into the you are the niche. The you are the niche. I don't even know how to say niche or niche, but anyway, that is a niche in itself. And I don't necessarily want to become the you are the niche. I'm not trying to become the you are the niche, but I am trying to prove that you can be the niche, if that makes any sense. So I got podcasts on here. I got shorts on here. I got whatever else, random vloggy things, travel things, all the things on here. So I am trying to set the example that you can be the niche Like you really are the niche. So if any of this is interesting or you kind of vibe with my personality, make sure you're subscribed. And then also if any of this content in the Being a Creator podcast, which is even more niche, I get that. It's more niche and it's about the You Are the Niche podcast, I guess. So if you know any creators or anybody that this might actually help that are like maybe just putting out the same video over and over and you're like kind of getting tired of it, but you like them as like a personality, maybe send this podcast over to them because I get that I don't have all the subscribers yet, but like I can see the snowball going down the hill. Like it's going to happen. It's happening. It's already happening. So send this to them because I know when you try another format or a new type of content, like your views go down again. And it's like your ego, you just have to let that go. Like you have to let whatever that is with your ego go. Try to optimize that piece of content after the fact. And then you do it again. But also, if you're watching on one of the platforms that has video, it's actually cold here in Thailand. Maybe there is something to this climate change thing. I don't know. But it's pretty cold outside. So I've been wearing like the real beanie, the real thing, not just the one to cover up my head. I'm going to make the video without the hat on. And that's beside the point. Nobody cares about any of that unless I am the niche. And that, my friends, is exactly what I'm talking about. And look, I get it because like we have to do so much work on ourselves. And that's why I think YouTube really is like, just watched a video and somebody mentioned that like YouTube is personal development because you learn so much about yourself when you're on camera, when you're just presenting, when you're trying to record in public, like there's just so many societal, I don't know, taboos and societal pressures and things that you didn't really know were there. You're like, of course I can just record on my phone in a coffee shop or whatever. And like, it's like way freaking harder than you thought. Like the pressure, the judgment that's not even there. It's a whole other thing. It's a whole other pressure. So I get it. So if you're watching me and you're one of those people that is like, I want to make content. I want to put my message out. I want to say some stuff online, but like, I'm so afraid of what people are going to say. Look, they're going to be mean. Okay. Especially at first, because you have to scrape the rust off your brain, man. Like it takes doing it over and over until that rust layer comes off your brain and you're able to articulate what you want to say, be authentic in the moment. Because like, I had a whole script for this, and I've done videos where I have basically scripts and outlines. And even the last one, I kind of had an outline and it just didn't come across. It was supposed to be viral, like a viral video, because it's a viral video idea that's already been proven. And like, I just could not naturally say the things that I needed to say without checking it and be like, okay, did I put this in the video? Nobody really wants to watch that. I don't think, I don't know, or maybe the content is good enough on its own, but that's like not the point of what I'm doing. That's not the point. Actually, the lessons in there are incredible. Like they're really great lessons. And there was a reason that I put them in there, but I'm just not the kind of guy that can have a script and read it, because every time I've done that, it comes across as like just completely cardboard. Like I'm cardboard. I might as well be a robot. So for me, or anyone that's really trying to be the niche, like reading a script is just not going to work. Like you have to come up with some tropes, some ideas, some things that you can fall back on if you get stuck, because like you've got to be able to move forward. We've got to be able to post like way more than we thought we were going to have to post. And it's just going to have to keep going out until that snowball really starts rolling down the hill, because otherwise it's bink bonk. And that's just the analytics, the spike up and down, spike up and down. And until we get that solid reservoir of viewership and people interacting with our content and sharing content, then we're just going to be stuck in it. It's got to be horrible for your mindset. Like if you're not prepared for this, like this is why I'm making this episode, right? Like if you're not prepared for these like spikes and drops, then like, psychologically, it's just really damaging. Like I said, I posted the first video, didn't get the views I was expecting, and then just gave up for years. Posted another video, didn't get the views I was expecting, gave up again. Like it's the same cycle. And then when you see it start to go up, you get really excited. You're like, all right, I'll post another video. And then it's just the same thing. Ding, bong. Like it's going to show it to people. It's going to test it out. It's going to see if it's good. It's probably not. You're too new at this. You don't know all the stuff. You haven't peeled the rust off your brain. You don't know who you are. You don't know what you stand for. You don't know your message. You don't know how to show up on camera. So there's a reason Complex and Collider and all these media companies that were like trying to be the new wave of like media, like maybe, I don't know, 5 or 10 years ago online, this like internet presence of media, they were hiring talent, like talented actors, talent on air, what they call on-air talent. And there's a reason, because they have personalities. They know how to present. They know how to communicate. They know how to like look good, feel good, ask the right questions, all that kind of stuff. Like that is a whole skill in itself. And here we are like trying to be like, okay, this is how you use the remote control for the Samsung smart TV on, and like, you don't have the presentation skills because you haven't been doing presentations. And that's the thing too, is even if we're the best, like in our office or in our social group or in our church or in our wherever we do presentations, like that still may not even translate to YouTube because we're comparing ourselves. The videos that go viral, the videos that go all the way, right? They're the best of the best of the best of presenting, of skills. They're basically actors at this point. And you're going against that. So you really have to like hone in on who are you and what is that presented version of yourself that's interesting enough for people to want to watch. You don't have to be there for everybody. Yeah, we're not necessarily trying to beat them, but you are competing against them for the attention of what will eventually be your audience. And so we really have to think about that, start tweaking things, amplifying that, and bringing the you back to YouTube. Like it's really got to be about you and what makes you unique. Gosh, that's hard to say. What makes you unique and what makes you you. Hopefully I got enough good gems in here. In the first episode, we covered getting unstuck. Then we covered authenticity. We covered being too real. Like what happens if you're too real? So there's all of this stuff that you have to work out before you can even press record. If you want it to be good, you got to work all of this out. And so if any of this is interesting to you, like watching me figure this out kind of in real time, or if you think this can help somebody, make sure you share it with them. And hopefully we'll get to that It Factor episode soon. I've been really just trying to dial it in myself and work with that, especially when I'm out in public, because I finally worked myself into a little bit of a frenzy here. And I've really brought the best parts of my personality out here. But if I'm in public, is this going to show up? I don't think so. You know what I mean? Like it's going to take something else, so adjusting to that, like social pressure. How can you become an entertainer, but also deliver your message, deliver what's important to you, talk about the things that you enjoy talking about? Just be an entertainer if that's what you want to be. Like, how can you do all of these things in your unique voice? And do you want to know what it is? Just make sure you hit the subscribe button because we're going to be going deeper and deeper down this rabbit hole of being a creator. So all these things that we're thinking about, all these things that we're trying to put together, you can start to get clarity. You get clarity by filling out this little worksheet that I called your ideal avatar. And I know in marketing, like that's the ideal avatar of the person that you want to buy your thing. But no, we're talking about the ideal avatar of yourself. So you want to start working out what all of this stuff is for you. Go download the Ideal Avatar worksheet. You can get a copy of that by downloading the free chapters in the book, or if you already have the book, Something Is Not Wrong With You, you can get the Avatar worksheet in there. Like, it's a real book, guys. It's not very thick. It's a short read, but it's very dense. Check it out on the Amazons, and also just give the rest of the podcast a listen, watch, and catch you in the next one.